The notification pinged at 12:47 a.m. I was lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering why my wife Taryn hadn't come home from her girls' night at the club. Again. I grabbed my phone, expecting another excuse text. Instead, I found a photo meant for someone else. There she was, my loving wife of 7 years, sitting in Vince DeLuca's lap at the VIP section of Club Metro. Her hand rested on his thigh, lips pressed against his cheek. The timestamp showed 30 minutes ago. Well, I muttered to the empty bedroom. Looks like Taryn's definition of networking has expanded. The photo was meant for her best friend Kendra, I could tell from the message thread. A simple mistake that revealed everything. My chest tightened, but not with sadness, with cold, calculating anger. I'd suspected something for months. The late nights, new lingerie, sudden interest in expensive wine. Vince DeLuca, the flashy owner of Premier Auto Sales, had been showing up at too many of Taryn's real estate events, always with his cocky grin and designer suits. I screenshot the photo and saved it to a secure folder. Then I did something Taryn never expected from her boring husband Hale. I got strategic. By 3 a.m., I'd contacted my lawyer, initiated transfers from our joint accounts, and changed passwords on everything I controlled. The craftsman house we lived in, solely in my name, inherited from my grandmother. The cars, mine, through my moving company. Even our dog Max was registered under my information. When Taryn stumbled through the front door at 4 a.m., reeking of expensive cologne that wasn't mine, I pretended to sleep, let her think she'd gotten away with it. The next morning, she discovered her new reality. "Hale," her voice echoed from the home office. "Why can't I access our accounts?" I sipped my coffee calmly. "Which accounts?" "Don't play games. The business account, savings, everything's locked." "Oh, those accounts." I smiled. "Funny thing about joint accounts, when one person empties them, the other person tends to notice." Her face went pale. "You can't do that." "Already did. Amazing what you can accomplish when you're not busy networking at clubs until 4 a.m. She tried her car next. The engine wouldn't start. Remote shutoff, courtesy of the security system I'd installed last year. Then came the credit cards, all frozen. "This is insane!" she screamed. "I'll call the police!" "For what? Managing my own assets?" I shrugged, though you might want to explain this first. I showed her the screenshot. Her expression shifted from anger to panic to desperate calculation. "It's not what it looks like. Kendra dared me to take a silly photo. You know how she is with her stupid games." "Right, and Vince just happened to be the nearest lap available." "Hale, please. We can work this out." But I was already reading her text messages with Kendra from the past month. Messages about getting him out and being almost free and the plan working perfectly. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. This wasn't just an affair, it was a con job. My buddy Rudy from the moving company found the whole thing hilarious. "So she's been playing house with Vince DeLuca?" He laughed, loading furniture into our truck. "That slick-haired snake? Man, she really traded down." The best part? She thinks I'm too stupid to fight back. We were at the gym that afternoon when Taryn arrived for her usual workout, expecting to drive home in her luxury SUV. Instead, she found an empty parking space and a note. "Vehicle repossessed for non-payment. Have a nice walk home." Through the gym windows, I watched her frantically call someone, probably Vince or Kendra. She was still wearing her designer workout gear, but now she looked lost, stranded. "Cold, man," Rudy said. "I like it." That evening, I met Lucy at Murphy's bar. Lucy had been serving drinks in this town for 15 years. She knew everyone's business before they did. "Heard you and Taryn are having troubles," she said, wiping down glasses. "Word travels fast." Faster when Denny from Club Security shows people security footage. She slid me a beer. Vince and your wife have been meeting at the Riverside Motel every Tuesday for 2 months. Tuesdays, I nodded. Her supposed yoga class. Denny's got the footage if you need it. Time-stamped, clear as day. I bought Denny a beer and walked away with a USB drive full of evidence. Taryn and Vince entering the motel room, staying for hours, leaving separately. Professional quality surveillance that would hold up anywhere. But Taryn wasn't finished. The next day, she launched her counterattack. My boss called me into his office. Hale, I've received some concerning reports about your behavior. Drinking on the job. Inappropriate conduct with clients. From who? Your wife called. She's worried about you. I almost laughed. Sir, my wife is currently having an affair with Vince DeLuca from Premier Auto. She's trying to discredit me before I file for divorce. His expression changed. You have proof? I showed him the photos and messages. She's been planning this for months. Handle your personal business, Hale, but don't let it affect work. Already handling it. That afternoon, I made some calls. Vince's business partner, Danny Morrison, was an old friend from high school. We'd stayed in touch over the years. Danny, you might want to check Vince's recent transactions, specifically anything involving real estate deals with a woman named Taryn Trenwick. Why? Because I think your partner's been using company funds to impress his girlfriend. 2 hours later, Danny called back. Holy crap, Hale. Vince has been moving money through fake property investments. We're talking serious fraud here. Thought you should know. The next morning, Vince found his pristine BMW covered in bumper stickers. Ask me about my affair with Taryn Trenwick, and honk if you love other men's wives. He knew I'd done it. He just couldn't prove it. The annual charity 5K run was the social event of the season. Everyone who mattered in our small town participated, including the sponsors who paid big money for visibility. Vince was scheduled to present a check on behalf of Premier Auto, wearing his crisp white running shorts and company polo. Perfect target. I positioned myself at the water station, holding a cup of bright red sports drink. As Vince jogged past, pumping his arms for the cameras, I stumbled forward. Oh no, I called out as the red liquid splashed across his white shorts. I'm so sorry. The stain spread across his crotch and down his legs, making it look like he'd had a serious accident. The photographers captured every moment. Vince's face turned crimson as the crowd began to whisper and point. You did that on purpose, he hissed. Prove it, I replied, loudly offering napkins. Accidents happen, right? Just like accidentally sending photos to the wrong person. That evening, Vince tried to confront me at the moving company warehouse. He didn't know Rudy was working late, inventorying equipment. Where is he? Vince demanded, storming through the loading dock. Where's who? Rudy stepped out from behind a truck. Your buddy Hale. He's been sabotaging my business, my reputation. Maybe your reputation sabotaged itself, I said, emerging from the office. Heard you lost the Henderson contract after today's photo op. Vince lunged toward me, but Rudy blocked his path. Easy there, Romeo. This is private property. You think you're clever? Vince snarled. I'll destroy you. With what? Your stellar reputation? Your honest business practices? Your faithful relationship history? He tried to circle around Rudy, but my friend was built like a linebacker. Vince, realizing he was outmatched, backed toward the exit. This isn't over. Actually, it is. You just don't know it yet. As he fled, Vince tried to jump the chain-link fence behind the warehouse. His expensive jeans caught on the wire, tearing as he tumbled into the muddy drainage ditch beyond. He limped away, soaked and humiliated. The next night at Murphy's bar, Taryn and Kendra tried their own confrontation. They strutted in like they owned the place, planning to publicly shame me. Lucy slid me a note. They're recording. Don't take the bait. Smart woman. I waited for them to start their performance. There he is, Taryn announced loudly. My abusive husband, everyone. He's been stalking me, sabotaging my career, threatening my friends. The bar went quiet, all eyes on me. I stood up slowly, pulling out my phone. That's interesting, honey. Should I play the recording of you and Kendra planning to frame me for assault? Or would you prefer I read your text messages about the blackmail scheme? I pressed play. Kendra's voice filled the bar. If he doesn't pay up, we'll leak the photos and say he threatened us. No one will believe his side. The crowd's attention shifted to them. Taryn's face went white. Those are fake, she stammered. Time-stamped and verified, I replied. Along with the motel security footage, financial records, and witness statements. They left without another word, but I knew this was just the beginning. Rudy intercepted the message by accident. Kendra had sent it to the wrong number, 1 digit off from Vince's cell. Plan B is go. Use the photos to threaten him. If he doesn't pay, we leak everything and claim harassment. They're really going for blackmail, Rudy said, showing me the text. Perfect. Let them. I'd been expecting this escalation. People like Taryn, Vince, and Kendra always doubled down when cornered. They couldn't accept losing, so they'd risk everything on one desperate gambit. The meeting was set for the Riverside Motel, the same place they'd been conducting their affair. Poetic justice. I arrived early, planting recording devices and positioning Rudy and Denny as backup. When the 3 conspirators showed up, they thought they held all the cards. Here's how this works, Kendra announced, setting her laptop on the cheap motel table. We have compromising photos of you with clients, evidence of stalking, recorded threats. Pay us $50,000 or we go public. Show me, I said calmly. They doctored images, edited audio recordings, fabricated a whole narrative of abuse and harassment. Professional-level work. Impressive, I admitted. Too bad you forgot something. What? I've been investigating you for weeks. I opened my own laptop. Kendra, you've been embezzling from your real estate company, $15,000 over 6 months thinking no one would notice. Her confidence cracked. Vince, your business partner already knows about the fraudulent property deals. He's filing charges tomorrow. Vince started sweating. And Taryn, your parents received copies of all your messages about the affair and the blackmail plot. They're flying in tomorrow to discuss your inheritance. You're bluffing, Taryn said, but her voice shook. I played their own recorded conversation from the motel room, captured by the surveillance system they'd forgotten about. Every detail of their scheme, every cruel laugh about manipulating me, every plan to destroy my reputation. The beautiful thing about small towns, I said, is that everyone talks and everyone listens. I stood to leave, but not before triggering the fire alarm. Water sprayed from the ceiling sprinklers, soaking their laptops, phones, and fabricated evidence. While they scrambled to save their electronics, I slipped outside to Vince's BMW. I didn't damage it. That would be illegal. Instead, I filled it with biodegradable packing peanuts, covered the windshield with washable window paint spelling loser, and zip-tied plastic flamingos to the door handles. By morning, photos of Vince's decorated car were all over social media. The town's monthly business mixer was held in the square, with all the local entrepreneurs, politicians, and social climbers in attendance. Taryn saw it as her chance for redemption, a public forum to play the victim and rally support. She'd prepared a speech about domestic abuse, manipulation, and harassment. Vince and Kendra flanked her like bodyguards, ready to corroborate every lie. I let her start. My husband has been terrorizing me for weeks, she announced to the gathered crowd. Stalking, threatening, sabotaging my career. I'm speaking out because no woman should suffer in silence. Sympathetic murmurs rippled through the audience. Taryn was good at this. She'd always been a skilled manipulator. He's turned my friends against me, destroyed my business relationships, and made me fear for my safety. More support from the crowd. She was winning. Then I stepped forward. That's a compelling story, I said loudly. Should I play the recording of you planning this speech? Or would you prefer I start with the motel security footage? I'd come prepared. Large screen, professional projector, wireless microphone, the whole setup. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to share the real story. The first image appeared. Taryn and Vince entering the motel room, timestamp clearly visible. My wife has been conducting an affair for months while planning to frame me for abuse. Next came the audio recordings, their voices discussing the blackmail scheme, laughing about my supposed stupidity, planning to take everything I owned. The crowd's sympathy shifted rapidly. Taryn tried to interrupt, but I kept going. Here's Kendra admitting to embezzlement. Here's Vince discussing fraudulent business deals. And here's my wife explaining how she planned to destroy my reputation and take half my assets. By the time I finished, Taryn was crying, not from remorse, but from rage at being exposed. Vince had disappeared into the crowd, probably planning his escape from town. Kendra stood frozen, realizing her career was over. But the best part came next. Danny Morrison, Vince's business partner, stepped onto the makeshift stage. I'd like to announce that Premier Auto Sales is under new management. Mr. DeLuca's partnership has been terminated due to financial irregularities. His final paycheck will go toward restitution for his fraudulent activities. Vince reappeared, pushing through the crowd. You can't do this! Already done. Security will escort you from the premises if you return. Taryn's parents had driven down from Boston after receiving copies of all her messages. Her father, a stern banker who'd always disapproved of me, approached the stage. Taryn, you're no longer welcome in our home. We're removing you from all family accounts and trusts. Daddy, please! You've embarrassed our family enough. The crowd began to disperse, but not before everyone had seen the evidence, heard the recordings, and witnessed the complete collapse of the conspiracy against me. Murphy's bar was packed that night. Everyone wanted to rehash the day's drama, and I was buying rounds for anyone who wanted to listen to the full story. Lucy wiped down glasses, grinning. Hell of a show today, Hale. What are you going to do now? I looked around the bar, filled with neighbors, co-workers, and friends who'd supported me through the whole ordeal. Taryn, Vince, and Kendra were nowhere to be seen. Word was, they'd left town separately, each facing their own consequences. Rudy clapped me on the shoulder. You know what the best part is? They thought they were so much smarter than you. People always underestimate the quiet guy, I replied. They see someone who works with his hands, doesn't make a big scene, keeps his head down. They think that means stupid. Their mistake. Through the bar's front window, I could see the empty lot where Premier Auto Sales used to operate. Vince had cleared out fast, leaving behind only a closed permanently sign and some scattered paperwork. Taryn's real estate office had a similar sign. Her partnership with Kendra had dissolved along with their reputations. You feel bad for them at all? Lucy asked. I considered the question seriously. These were people I'd known for years, shared meals with, celebrated holidays alongside. No, I said finally. They made their choices. They decided I was weak, stupid, and disposable. They gambled everything on that assumption. And lost. Completely. The jukebox played an old country song about revenge being sweet. Someone had probably selected it as a joke, but it felt appropriate. My phone buzzed with a text from my lawyer. Divorce papers signed, house, business, and assets confirmed as yours. Clean sweep. I raised my beer to the crowded bar. Here's to learning who your real friends are. The toast was echoed throughout Murphy's, and for the first time in months I felt completely at peace. Outside, the small New England town continued its quiet evening routine. Tomorrow there would be new gossip, new drama, new stories to tell. But tonight, the story was mine. And I'd made sure it had the perfect ending.